Hey, what's up, everyone? Nick Arapklis here, and I have my good buddy Bridger Rogers here today, a local Scottsdale fitness, game, Instagram, mindset, just a bunch of cool stuff. We met a while ago, and we're going to share his story, how he helps people make money, get in shape, get girls, all of that good stuff. So if you're interested in that, make sure and stick around all the way to the end of this video. So welcome, guys. Appreciate you being here. Again, like I mentioned, good buddy Bridger, we met about a year ago now.
Yep.
I was thinking about it when we ran into each other the other night. We met at a conference, Jason Capital Conference, and I saw you. And probably the thing that just stuck out to me was your energy. You jumped up, you're asking a question at the pre-day, and then you were mentioning how you're living in Scottsdale. So I was like, oh, I want to connect with this guy at some point. But ever since we've met and any conversation that we had, I just noticed that you have this really good energy about you. So I just wanted to share that real quick. But like we mentioned, we're going to get into your story. And you just kind of share all you do. You were just telling me you have a lot of stuff going on, how you help guys specifically with a lot of different areas of their life. Yeah. So why don't you have a pretty cool story with a specific influencer that we'll get to if you want to share that.
Yeah, for sure.
Why don't you jump into that story and then we'll just kind of keep on riffing off of that.
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to say thanks, brother, for the compliment there on the energy, man. It really means a lot. And yeah, let's jump into it. So for those of you who don't really know my story, I had a crazy thing happen to me. I don't know if I've told you this, Nick, but we'll get into it. It's some pretty deep stuff. When I was about 15 years old, to give you some context and background, I was homeschooled for the first 10 years of my life. So I learned a lot of cool lessons in there about basically if I work harder and smarter, I can get done with my school quicker. So it taught me principles, like working smarter, harder, leads to better success in life, more freedom. But the story that I think that you're kind of hinting towards starts off when I was 15. And so I just started going to public school after 10 years of being homeschooled. And what ended up happening was I overworked myself. I got into some college classes, skipped some classes when I was homeschooled, started taking some college classes, training for basketball. At the time, wanted to be a professional NBA basketball player was my dream, every kid's dream. But so basically I got struck with the severe illness, just like that. And I started getting these really weird stomach aches, before going to school. And as I was riding, my bus to school, by the time I got to school, I just had this really achy, just intense, really just throbbing stomach ache. And by second or third period, I was, the first day that it happened, I was just wiped out. I was in the bathroom, just curled over, felt like I wanted to throw up, but I couldn't. So I had to call my mom, and called my mom. She came and got me, and I kind of spent the rest of the day just on the couch, kind of curled up. Didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was going on. So maybe, I thought maybe it's just a fluke, whatever. But then it happened again the next week. And then started happening 2 times a week, then 3 times a week. Mom's like, okay, we got to start figuring out what's going on. So we start going to doctors. Okay, the first doctor we go to says I have a stomach migraine. Okay, a lot of the medical doctors, from my experience, depending on, if you have a kind of a unique or weird illness, they don't really know. And so they start just prescribing you stuff and trying to hope that it works. So they said I had stomach migraines. They, prescribed me this medication, whatever. So I started taking this medication. She said, you'll be better 6 weeks, whatever. And no, nothing. Still dealing with the same thing. So then we go to the next doctor, and they say, I have SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. So then they're like, okay, take this antibiotic. You'll be better in 6 weeks. And so I'm like, yes, finally I can go back to school. Because at this point, it's so bad that I'm missing school 4 or 5. I'm barely going to school 1 or 2 days a week. So I pulled out of school second semester of my sophomore year, and I just start basically just my whole life's just going to doctors and trying pills and trying these crazy diets. And I tried this chicken noodle soup diet for 2 weeks, lost 10 pounds, didn't work at all, was miserable. It was a crazy journey. And so I learned, basically it was filled with, as Ed Milet talks about, false starts, but really it was just false hope, because these doctors would tell me, okay, you take this pill, you're going to be better. So it'd be I get my hopes up. Yes, I'm going to be, go back to normal. Nothing. And so pretty soon I started to lose hope after, 3, 4, 5 doctors. Sure. And I thought, I'm going to be real with you, Nick. I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life a sick kid, skinny, weak, insecure, unconfident, not able to, get the girl of my dreams, have the lifestyle of my dreams, have friends. I didn't have any friends because I was so embarrassed with my situation. I didn't want to tell my friends. So I just dropped off the face of my earth. My friends were texting me. I was very vague, didn't want to, say what was going on. And so it was a really depressing time for me. And I remember the lowest point of this entire journey. It lasted almost 2 years of being in this state of just intense pain and suffering, and really built the man I am today because I have that perspective now, because I went through that. Every day is, the best day of my life. I get to just have so much gratitude for where I am because I can live my dreams. I'm not in pain, and I can really be the master of my destiny because I don't, health's not holding me back. So I learned at a young age that your health is like the most important thing besides your long-term, faith and spirituality. It's the most important thing on this planet because if you lose your health, you can't build your wealth and you can't get that dream girl or have that love life or that social circle. So you got to value your health at a young age. That's one of the biggest things that I can stress to you guys watching is value your health. Watch what you eat. Watch how you exercise and what you exercise because it's going to impact the rest of your life. So to conclude this story and how it ties into this influencer that I got to work with, which was really cool, is basically towards the end of this, I found this doctor who ended up being the #1 Lyme disease specialist. And so one of the things that these doctors had me do was actually get my appendix out. So while I was at the doctor, literally in the the room about to go back and get my appendix out, my mom bumps into our family chiropractor, and she's like, "What's Bridger doing here? He was always like a healthy kid playing basketball, doing great."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, he's been really struggling, health issues, whatever." And she's like, "Have you ever heard of Lyme disease?" And Mom's like, "No, what's Lyme disease?" And she's like, "Well, it's this, you can get bit by a spider, tick, bug, and essentially you can have stomach pain, chronic fatigue, brain fog, really low energy, things like that." And she's like, "Well, that sounds just like Bridger." She's like, what do you do about this?" And she's like, "Well, there's actually, believe it or not, the #1 Lyme disease specialist in the world was located where I grew up, which is in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho." So that was just, total, I think, God thing. Then he ended up being there because literally I remember the day that I went in for my consultation, the person before me was from Germany. So this person flew all the way from Germany to get healed by this guy. So it was really cool that he was so close. It was like 15 minutes from my house. So go to this guy, and he ends up doing this very unique muscle test to kind of see, how the Lyme disease, or if you have it. And so basically there's certain parts of the body that it really is concentrated and then it likes to dwell in. And so one of the spots is in the shoulder in this area here. And so basically he'd press on that, hold up my arm before and after. And if I was weak, then you most likely have it, or you do have it, right? And so he did that, and he's like, "Okay, yeah, you got Lyme disease." And so we're like, "Wow, okay, what do we do now?" And she's like, well, it's about 4 months until I can treat you." And we're like, "What? 4 months?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm backed up for the next 4 months." I'm like, "You're kidding, right?" You're like, "No." I'm like, "Well, we've already been doing this for like a year and a half. Like, is there any way you can squeeze us in?" He's like, "Well, I mean, I could put you on a list, but it's going to be really tough. There's people wanting to be here, from all over the world." So thank God somebody canceled last minute, and because we're so close, we just drove in. And so I think it was like 2 weeks after this happened, I got a spot, and he starts using this really unique way to heal. The way that he explains it is he uses these magnets to essentially wake the body up. Because of the way, if you look at the Lyme disease on a DNA level, it's a spiral. It looks like a screw. And what it does is it basically spirals itself into your cells. And so it disguises itself so your body can't attack it and kill it. So it's really nasty stuff. So basically what he does is he uses these magnets to basically wake your body up. Like, hey, there's a virus here. You need to go fight that. Mm-hmm. So he uses your own body to kind of fight it using these magnets. So we started doing that. And then after that, he recommends that you get supplementation to help with the healing process as you detox, right? So he also recommends me to a DNA specialist, kind of look at my DNA and see what can be optimized in my health. And so it's the craziest thing. So my mom gets a call with this DNA doctor, and she gets on the call. And as soon as he gets on the call, he's like, "Well, first off, do you mind if I start off by asking you a couple questions about your son?" And she's like, "Sure." And we've never met this guy before, okay? Mm-hmm. And just based on his DNA, here's what he starts to say. He's like, "Is your son like a pretty ambitious guy? He's got a lot of goals, a lot of energy, type A personality?" She's like, "Yeah, that's him." Okay, and let me guess, he's probably struggling with a lot of stomach pain, fatigue, brain fog. It starts going through literally exactly my symptoms. And she's like, She's like, yeah. And she's like almost freaked out. Like, did somebody talk to him? Whatever. He's like, yeah, I mean, I can tell based on this gene and this gene, you know, he's going to have this likely, you know, problems with his health. She's like, wow. And then obviously he's like, yeah, so here's what we're going to do. He has his own supplement line, organic whole food supplements, to basically help compensate for what your body can't do naturally. It's really cool. So I started taking these supplements, got treated by Lyme disease, and literally within it was about 6 months after getting treated for Lyme disease, and then another 2 months after that, implementing these supplements. Boom, 2 months after starting taking these supplements, I went from barely being able to walk up and down the stairs to our bonus room to, you know, being able to go to the gym 3 days a week, starting to lift, where I started following Greg O'Gallagher, KNOX, one of his programs, Greek God program, which you're doing right now.
Yep.
And so that's where kind of this story begins. So I start to get healed, and I have this hunger, this drive like nothing else, because I'm like, I got my life back. I don't know, you know, when something else is like this is going to happen. So I'm like, I got to take action fast. I got to live my dreams as fast as possible. So at the young age, I had this insane urgency to just start doing, you know, things that are great. And so the first thing I want to do is I want to get my physique dialed in. You want to say something? Jump in.
No, I mean, it's just like you had a new take on life, and it showed you had a new appreciation, which a lot of people don't actually get that. So it's amazing that you actually went through that. It was a gift, really taught you a lot about life. That's kind of what I heard from that story. Yeah.
Dude, I love it, man. Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the time, it was the worst thing that could ever happen to me. I felt that way. I hated it. But, you know, looking back, it's the thing that's really made me who I am today and give me, you know, the mindset, the perspective, like you said. And so, yeah, really blessed to have that experience, because I think that those experiences build us faster. Like, they expedite our process. Have you had any experiences in life that have, like, was really painful, but it helped you grow really fast?
Yeah, I mean, torn my pectoral tendon a little over a year ago, and it's like that. I related to that story a lot. Definitely different circumstance, but especially when you're talking about health is everything, and not having it makes a huge impact on your life. Because for the first time in my life, I couldn't go to the gym. I couldn't do anything. I sat there with this. I could barely work. I had one hand to type. I was trying to write a book at the time, and I was typing with one hand.
Wow.
So it really puts things into perspective, because health really is everything, and a lot of times we take it for granted because we've always had it. But when it's taken away from you, it gives you a whole new perspective on life.
Dude, oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I must have just met you right when that happened then, huh? I think it was literally a couple months after I met you that it happened, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I think you remember it was benching, right?
Yep.
Wow. Don't do the flat bench press, guys.
Don't do that.
Crazy. So anyway, as I start to transform my body from, you know, this experience, I'm like, at the time I was struggling with a lot of identity and self-image issues, because I'd been sick for so long and had been, you know, skinny. Like, I think one thing I forgot to mention was that every time I ate food, my stomach ache would intensify and get like 10 times worse. So I literally just stopped eating for like 18 months. I was eating less than like 1,000 calories a day, minimal protein shakes, rice, just very bland, you know, food. So I got really, really skinny. Looked like, you know, unbroken, like a concentration camp.
Oh man,
it was bad. And you know, all I did was just sit on the couch in my bed. So I was just watching TV, playing video games all day, just trying to take my mind off the pain.
Damn.
And so my body literally, because I'd been literally melted into a chair for 18 months, I had really bad posture. I was like I had to start going to physical therapy and all kinds of stuff. So as I started to transform my physique, I during this time I was watching a lot of YouTube and stuff, and I found this guy named Greg O'Gallagher, KNOX, and I met him through Ty Lopez. So Ty Lopez, you know, I saw his ad in like 2015, knowledge. The more you learn, the more you earn. And so I started reading books, want to be successful. And then obviously Greg was on Ty's YouTube, found Greg, and I'm like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. So followed him. Never did his programs until after this, but followed his YouTube. It was really interesting. I'm like, man, it'd be cool to be like that guy, you know, be jacked, get the girls, drive a nice car, have the, you know, the lifestyle. And so I really looked up to him, and he was kind of like my inspiration. Like, man, if I could be like this guy when I get better, this would be the life, you know? So So then I just started working out, and I was like, I'm going to get jacked. I'm going to build my physique, get confident. And so that's where I built my confidence and everything and my work ethic, just from showing up to the gym, following a program. And within 4 months, I gained like 20 pounds of just rock hard muscle, still shredded.
Oh, yeah, man.
Thank you, bro. And so I ended up following Greg on Instagram, and one day he posted about his Greek God program. Like, hey, guys, you guys got to join the program. It's one of the best programs if you want to gain muscle. And from the things that I kind of learned from Grant Cardone and Tai Lopez, you got to add value, and just kind of be an asset or to get these mentors' attention or these people's attention. So I just commented. I was just like, guys, if you ever doubted the program, and I was just grateful. But if you guys ever doubted the program, this is the program. I gained like 20 pounds, best investment I've ever made. You got to get the program. Just was selling for him. Mm-hmm. And so he saw that, and he looked at my Instagram. And at the time, I started my Instagram on July 4th, 2017, with kind of the mission and purpose to share my journey as I transform. It was about 2-3 months after I started taking these supplements. So it was about 2 months into my fitness journey. I was like, I'm going to document the journey. I'm going to share this journey on how I went from, on my deathbed to build my physique. And so he saw that, and then he reposted my transformation. And that was like one of the greatest days of my life. I remember he responded in the DMs like, dude, this is insane. Let me repost it. I'm like, and so he reposted it, kind of shares my story a little bit. And I was like, wow, this is insane. And so I went from like 100 followers to like 300 followers. And that was like a big thing for me. Yeah. Just other guys, following the journey. And so they started reaching out to me, asking like questions about the program and whatever. And so I started, just helping Greg out, just be like, yeah, here's what's the program about? Here's why you should join. Started just kind of casually just adding value, closing guys for him in the DMs. And that kind of started my Instagram sales journey, just kind of selling for him. And so then 6 months go by, and I gain another like 15 pounds and look even crazier. So on his programs. And so he's like, damn. He's like, dude, you're even more jacked. Do you mind if I repost this? And so he posts my transformation again. I'm like, this is insane. So then I go from like 300 followers to like 1,000 or like 1,200. And so then I got guys just flying in, just dozens and dozens of guys. Yeah. And so I'm getting tons of questions. Guys are wanting to join because they see my transformation, and they're like, dude, I look like you, man. I want to look like that. And so then I'm like, Greg, can I have an affiliate link? Okay, I got to back up. I forgot a part. So after the first time he reposted me, it was my mom's idea. I got to give her credit. She was like, why don't you ask Greg, because I was in an entrepreneurship class in college, why don't you ask him if you can interview him? And so I was like, I don't think he's going to want to, but sure, Mom. So I shoot my shot. I'm like, hey, if you, Greg, you mind having a Skype interview with me? He's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, oh, are you serious? So I was like, this is insane. So I do a Skype interview with Greg and started talking, asking him questions that I had prepared. And then at the end, he kind of wanted to hear about my story a little bit more, asking me questions. And we just connected, and followed me on Instagram after that and just kind of followed my journey. And then, like I said, he reposted me again, and then I started closing deals and then I got an affiliate link, became one of his top affiliates, closing programs for him with my Instagram, became kind of like an influencer for him. And then he had a photo shoot that was coming up in September of 2018, end of 2018. And so he said he needed like 5 Kino warriors. That's what he calls his people that follow his stuff, to come and be in the photo shoot to share kind of the brand, the message. And I was like, dude, I know I live in Idaho, but just give me a spot. I'll pay for my own flight. I'll pay for my own hotel. I just want to be in this video shoot. And he's like, sure, man. And at the time, I had like $1,500 saved, and working at a job bagging groceries, making like $7.85. So this was like an entire like 6 months worth of savings, working part time while going to school. And I was willing to invest it all because I knew at the time, Greg had asked me to create him an ad. He wanted me to create him a YouTube ad telling my story. And so I created this ad, but I couldn't get, and he kind of coached me on it a little bit through the process. I got his number. He kind of coached me on it, but he's really busy, whatever. He never had the time to actually like try it. And so my goal was to get there and kind of, convince him to start running that ad, because I knew that if I could get in and have him start running that ad, then maybe I could start making some money, living my dream, being an influencer or whatever. So he ends up responding back. He's like, dude, of course you can come, man. He's like, yeah, you can even crash in my place, the Kino Mansion. I'm like, oh, another dream come true. And the thing that I have to stress that's important to all you guys listening is before any of this even happened, before I had even talked to Greg, when I just started working out, I just started telling my friends this with absolute certainty, like conviction, like I'm going to meet this guy. Like, this guy changed my life. I'm going to meet this guy, and we're going to become friends. I started telling my friends that. And like, dude, shut up, bro. You're not going to meet him. He's a celebrity, blah, blah, blah. He lives in Toronto. But I just believed it. And so I started learning about law of attraction, vision boards, and I started putting that up there on my vision board. Us working together, visualizing it. And so, sure enough, you put in the work, you let the law of attraction happen, and, the opportunity presented itself, went for it. And the crazy thing is, he said I could come to the video shoot on Sunday, and the video shoot's Thursday. I'm 18 years old. I've got $1,500 in my bank account, and I don't have a plane ticket. I don't even have a passport, and I need to get to Toronto by Thursday. And my mom, and he said yes, and my mom's like, there's no way you're going. She's like, no way. You don't have a passport. You don't have a plane ticket. Mm-hmm. There's no way you can make that. And I was like, Mom, no, I'm going. I said, Grant Cardone, commit first, figure the rest out later. Commit first, figure the rest out later. So I committed to it, and then I just started going to work. I was like, Mom, there has to be a way. There has to be a way for me to get a passport fast. So I Google, how to find a passport, and I find passport.com. 2-day expedited passport. I was like, there has to be business guys that have to take trips, whatever. So I find this. Ends up costing like $500 for an expedited passport. And I get this passport, get all my information together Sunday night, submit it Monday, and I end up getting the passport Monday morning, like an hour or two before my flight, just barely in the nick of time. So spend the last of my money, get this passport, get this ticket, and fly to Toronto. And vlog the whole thing. It's crazy. So end up going and meeting him. I still remember it took me all day to fly there because, it's way over, and it's like 6 hours of flying. So I end up getting to Toronto, and then Ubering, to his mansion. And this is kind of funny. I was telling this Uber driver's like, where are you going? It's like midnight. I'm in Toronto. He's like, you never been to Canada before? I'm like, no. He's like, where are you from? He's like, I'm from Idaho. He's like, you're from Idaho? What are you doing driving here at midnight? Like, oh, I met this guy on the internet, Met this guy on the internet, I'm gonna go work for him, do some fitness photo shoots. And this guy's like, dude, he's like, red flag. He's like, dude, here's my card, man. If something goes haywire, he's like, let me know, man. I okay, thanks, but I think I'll be okay. So anyways, I show up to the mansion, and we pull into the mansion. This mansion's this huge, beautiful, Irish style home. And we get to the mansion and hop out of the Uber, knock on the door. And sure enough, I see Greg, jog over, jacked. He had his long hair. And I'm like, dude, what's up, man? And it just brought that energy and just acted like we were best friends. And started vibing, started talking, and just kind of hit off right from there. It's very similar energy, ideas. And it was insane. Probably the most surreal experience of my life because I had visualized this. I'd written it down. I'd said it. And it was the first thing that I'd really been able to manifest and create in my life. And so I ended up, one of the ideas that I wanted to pitch him on was a program that we combined to work together. So when I got there, I was like, dude, I want to talk to you about something, this business idea I had to help guys on the program. And okay, let's hear it. So I ended up kind of telling him the first idea that I had that I pitched him was something like the Kino Body Execution Program. Because I noticed that a lot of guys would join his programs, like my friends back home. They join his programs, they do it for a couple weeks, but then they'd fall off. Like a lot of these New Year's resolutioners, right? And so I was like, you know what? If I could create a program that solved that problem of staying consistent, that kind of translated to a program I later launched, which is called the Freedom Schedule Blueprint. Really helps you take your priorities, your values in life, and plug them in, and really figure out exactly what you want to achieve and create your vision for long term, and then break it down, chunk it down to actionable 90-day attainable sprints or battle plans. So anyway, I pitched him this first idea. He's like, dude, I love the idea. Let's talk about it in the future. So we start talking back and forth. And long story short, after I'm flying back to Toronto, I was like, wow. I was like, now I know anything is possible. Anything. You put your mind to it, and you write it down, you visualize it. Even if you have no idea how you're going to achieve it, it's just a matter of when. And so there's my 4-step formula to success, Nick, that I've kind of followed, that I kind of learned, which is number one, you got to define exactly what it is you want. Very, very detailed. And I wrote down, I want to be best friends with Greg. I want to be business partners, make money, help guys transform their lives and their bodies. So very, very detailed. What is it? Step 2, you got to figure out why you want it. Because if you don't know why, you're not going to have enough, I guess, grit to persevere through the third thing, which is how. Right? So a lot of people focus on, oh, how am I going to do it? They're like, I want to do this, but how am I going to do it? They focus on the how before they focus on exactly what and why. And so then you try to figure out how. And if you don't know the how, that's okay. Ask yourself, who knows how to do what I want to achieve? So then the fourth step is ask, who knows what I want to do or knows parts of it that I can learn from? You follow that 4 steps, you're going to be able to achieve anything you want in life. And so that's kind of my journey, man. And so I pitched him. It was 4 ideas later. So I pitched him on this first program. He's like, great idea. Let's think about it. Pitched him on another program, which was essentially like, let's partner with companies and like sell giant corporate packages of his program. And then I pitched him on a third idea. I forgot what it was, but and then the fourth idea finally stuck. And it was essentially kind of what I was able to do, which is kind of become a Kino Body influencer, represent the brand, make affiliate sales, grow your Instagram. Because I'd stumbled across this strategy to blow up my Instagram from 1 to 10,000 followers in like 7 weeks, like real people that are buying the program. So then I was like, here's the idea. We bring on the most dedicated and passionate followers of your brand. We give them the tools, the tactics, the strategies to become influencers, sell the programs, almost kind of like a, affiliate marketing program, kind of tied in with some sales and teach them how to sell and stuff and give them affiliate links. He's like, dude, I love it. And so we partnered up. We sold this Kino Gladiator program is what it was called. We ended up launching that program. It did like 100K in like 30, 45 days, just organically, no ads. And it was awesome, man. We made a ton of money and traveled the world. Got paid to go to LA, Toronto, Boulder, Colorado. Traveled the world with Greg. Best friends with him. We're still friends this day. And so, that's kind of the story.
Dude, I love that. And something that really stuck out to me when you were talking about how you put this in you tried to put it in your vision board and just saying, I was going to do that. And your friends doubted you, but you just said, I'm going to do it. You didn't necessarily know the how. You just said, I'm doing this. And that's really the key. And that's the whole basis of the law of attraction, which, I talk about from time to time here on this channel, but it's just a lot of people get hung up on that how, but it's not the how. It's, I know I want this. I know why I want this. Like your 4-step formula, know exactly what you want. And then eventually you'll figure out the details on how to do it or the people that you want to, get connected with. And I think that's really cool because, I've had some stories similar to that where I reach out and want to connect with these influencers, and it's a really cool feeling. And I can only imagine what it's like to actually be flown out there, then meet them in person, then really develop this relationship. So that's super inspiring. So, okay, let's kind of fast forward. That was a few years ago. Let's talk a little bit more about what you're doing right now and how are you helping guys? Because you mentioned fitness, you're mentioning, game, relationships, Instagram, making money. Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I love it. So basically now, I kind of discovered or found out that I kind of wanted to do my own thing. It's good to have a mentor and kind of learn, but you can't really have 2 people in the spotlight. So now I'm kind of ventured out on my own thing. So I do a couple things that I think are really helpful to guys out there that I found are a lot of guys have with getting in shape, girls, and making money. Those are the 3 biggest things I think I found that guys focus on. How do I get in shape? How do I look better? How do I be more attractive? And then obviously getting girls. And there's strategies that you can implement and you'll get success. You follow a blueprint, you follow a strategy, you're going to get very similar results. So which one do you want to dive into first?
I would say let's do money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. So basically the biggest thing that I found when it comes to money is if you master sales, you're always going to have a skill set that's going to make you money, because if you can master sales, you can sell anything, and if you're a good salesman, you can sell yourself into a new job. You can sell yourself, and it correlates to game, dating, women. You can sell yourself to your new girlfriend, your new future wife, and you can sell a product or service that's going to help someone, and so I think when you figure out that sales is the skill set, then you have to ask yourself, okay, what niche am I going to get into that's going to make me a lot of money? And then not only that, but I think one of the biggest things for me is I don't want to just make a lot of money. I want to make, money doing what I love. I'd much rather make less money doing what I love, having the lifestyle of my dreams, than being a slave, to dollar bills,
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it's all about freedom and doing what you love. Because if you're doing what you love, you're going to be able to go much further in terms of the amount of hours you're going to put in. Because it's not going to feel like a drain. It's going to feel you're going to be inspired. And so I guess the thing that I find a lot of joy in is helping guys transform and kind of bridge that gap between who they are and who they're born to be. And that's why I think, my brand's really about, bridging that gap, being, a bridger, right? Cool name. Thanks to my parents. So anyway, so basically what I help guys do is take their passion, whether it be a passion for coaching guys, life coaching, whether it be fitness, guys are really passionate about fitness. They've learned how to transform their bodies. They want to be a mentor, coach, and influencer to other guys. Or, dating. If guys have kind of figured out how to create the dating life of their dreams, becoming a coach or influencer, and making money doing that. And so what I found is the easiest way right now that I've found is Instagram. Everybody's on Instagram. It's still, the most used platform in terms of social media. There's over, I think, 500 million people that view Instagram stories every day. It's insane. So people are, it's the most common used app, and more people from older generations are actually hopping on Instagram.
Yeah.
You're starting to see grandpas and grandmas hopping on Instagram to follow their kids and things like that. So Instagram's a really good way to get started, and there's certain formulas that you can follow, just like in anything in life, like going to the gym. You follow a certain structure, you're going to get a certain result. It's the same thing when it comes to growing your following, branding yourself, creating content, and creating value online that people will pay for. And so essentially, the easiest way to make money, I think, right now is starting a coaching business around what you love. You're going to be able to make money quick. Mm-hmm. You're going to be able to make money doing what you love, and you can do it part-time while you're working your job or going to school.
Sure.
So
what would you say is, I understand that, and someone saying, okay, I understand. I want to get started in coaching, but what if they don't feel qualified? Mm-hmm. What if you don't feel like you're to the point where you can be a coach, where you can help people and start charging people for your advice? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's huge. That's actually the number one thing that I kind of talk guys through and kind of coach them through is the imposter syndrome, right? Like, mm-hmm. I'm not like the model status physique. I can't coach people. But the thing is that you don't need to have the whole puzzle figured out. You only need to have a section of the puzzle figured out. Now, let me give you an example. You don't need to be, let's say you were 300 pounds, right? And you lost 100 pounds. You're not like shredded. You don't have a six pack, but you've learned how to lose 100 pounds. Mm-hmm. You can still be a coach and a mentor and an influencer to that guy who's 300 pounds. You just need to be one step ahead of whoever you want to help.
Right.
So you take one step forward, you make one transformation, one jump, you can turn around and help the guy and grab him and pull him up to your level. So
exactly. I always share this story because I 100% agree. Frank Abagnale Jr., the guy from Catch Me If You Can. I don't know if you saw that movie.
Dude, I love that movie.
So what they didn't share in the movie is that he went to class at Brigham Young University, and the professor wasn't there. So he went up to the front of the school, or front of the class, and he started teaching the entire class. His first day as a freshman, and they're like, "What the hell?" And then the next thing you know, he was teaching the entire class the entire semester. And so they were interviewing him later on, and he just went on to do a bunch of other crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And kind of scamming people wasn't the best thing, but I think there's a really powerful success principle in there, is that because they asked him, how were you able to teach a class that you were supposed to be in? And he said, I stayed one chapter ahead of the rest of the class. And that's what it is. But I think at the same time, it's really important that you are on a path where you are improving yourself, because I think that the coaching realm can get a bad rap because people just want to be coaches just because they want to be coaches. You have to be pushing forward and constantly improving yourself and constantly learning and educating yourself and constantly taking action. And as long as you're on that path and you're continually growing, you're going to be able to help a lot of people. Maybe you're not helping the upper echelon, 1%, but I mean, who is? Like only the top guys, only the Keno body guys are, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's important because we all go through that imposter syndrome. We're like, oh, who am I to be doing this? But as long as you are going after what you want and you're pushing through, it's going to give you that confidence to be able to coach people. And just know if you are doing that, you certainly can go coach people because a lot of people need your help.
Dude, I love that. And one thing that I think is so true that you said is that, you know, like in that movie, Catch You, what's it called again?
Catch Me If You Can.
Catch Me If You Can. Is that you just got to be one step ahead. And so in order for me, I think one thing that maybe if you're asking yourself, oh, could I be a coach? Could I be an influencer? Ask yourself, what's the transformation that you've made? You know, there's a formula that I follow. I call it the BTA formula, right? Your beta or before, your beta version of yourself or that before version of yourself. And then the transformational journey that you went on, the T, and then that after or alpha version of yourself is who you are now. And so if you've gone through that cycle, even if it's a small cycle, you've lost 30 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds, you've gained 10 pounds, or you've seen some success in whatever area of your life. If you've gone through one of those cycles, you can just break that down. You can say, okay, where was I? That's going to be your ideal customer, your ideal avatar. It's where you were. Transformational journey, that's going to be some of the free content, the tips that you're going to post on your Instagram, as well as the course completely detailed out. How do you get them to where they want to be, which is that after that alpha version of themselves. And so you create a program around that. I mean, that's what almost all the best programs and courses out there do, is they sell that transformational journey.
That's all it is the transformation. Everyone they want to be happier. They want to, like you said, they want to be in better physique. They want to be more confident. They want to be able to attract the opposite sex. They want to be making money. They want to have cool friends. Like they all want to transform, because a lot of people are kind of stuck in those ruts and they just want to, and that's, I mean, your example too, like you saw Greg and I want to be like that guy. He's got everything that I want. So it's all in those transformations. So, okay, let's, so you were mentioning Instagram a fair bit. Why don't we dive into that a little bit more? Because I know you said you have a course and you teach people this type of stuff. But why don't you give us maybe, because one thing I picked up from what you were saying earlier and I love is the whole idea of giving value. So why don't you touch on maybe some Instagram tips that people can, if they decide they want to be a coach or they have a product or service to sell, how do they actually get their product services in front of more people on Instagram? Because we know there's people on Instagram, but how do we get in front of the most amount of people?
Yeah, I love that. So I think there's like two questions in there. I'm going to do one first and then the other. So the first one is like providing value, the content, because you don't want to just be on Instagram, just always having ads running, posting. You want to throw some value in there, share some stories. So in terms of creating value and adding value, my easiest way to create content is I literally think about, okay, this piece of content that I'm about to create, who's it for, right? That, who's that beta version? Where are they at? What are they struggling with? What are they thinking? What's going on in their head? How can I help them, right? What am I going to help them with? What's the problem I'm going to solve, right? So like, let's say if it's fitness, okay, guys, that you think about that guy who's struggling right now. He's not getting the results he wants in the gym. He's struggling with losing weight or gaining weight. What are some tips, some things that you did that helped you kind of get out of that, right? So then you're like, okay, well, I started, if I was skinny, you don't do fasting. You start eating more, right? Or something like that. Or you can give them the 3 exercises that you use to kind of really build your shoulders, to really build those bolder shoulders, something like that. And you just think about that. And essentially just give them a piece of that transformational journey. What's one of the pieces of the puzzle that you can give them, right? And you give them that. And I use this 3-part formula when creating content. I think of a hook, something, quick intro, okay, here's what you're about to learn, kind of like your intro. Hey, here's my name. Here's what we're about to learn. Here's what we're doing. Here's where I am. And then you kind of give a brief preview into what you're going to get into, which is, the value or the message. The next part, after you kind of get them hooked, you get their attention, tell them what they're about to learn. Give them that value, that message, whatever it is, the 3 tips, your strategy, your formula, that mindset, whatever it is, get into that. And then to close, you do a call to action, whether it be to your program, you do a call to action to joining that program, or it could be as simple as hit that like button, comment down below, give me a follow, share this with someone that you think would get value from this. But you always do those 3 things and you're going to have a rock solid formula that the greats use for creating content.
Yeah. I really like that. That's a similar formula that I follow, because I think a lot of people will put up content and they'll just be like, all right, here's the content. And that's, it's great that people are doing that. They're taking action. But, as we all know, people's attention span are getting smaller and smaller by the second. So it's important to just become a master of attention. And kind of what you were explaining, especially the hook, that's the first most important part. You got to hook people in order for them to actually get to the point where they're consuming the value and the call to action. So each part is very important, but it ultimately comes down to attention, and then also giving a call to action. The call to action doesn't always need to be, hey, go buy my shit, but share my post so other people will buy my shit, right?
Yeah, it's facts.
Yeah. So, just having a little bit more strategic, because I was out doing a little content day with my friend, and we were doing some of those type of things, and I was like, he started jumping into some of his stuff, and I was like, hey, maybe try a hook, maybe try and like think about the prospect's mind, where are they at, and what would really draw them in. Because I think that's a really good point. What you're saying is, think about who's watching your content, think about where they are, think about what their mindset is, because everyone has a different perspective of life and they're all seeing things differently. So how can you really get in the minds and speak to that person? Because there's a lot of people shouting on Instagram and social media, but if you can be that one person that is really speaking to people and helping them feel understood, you're going to really draw people in. So I love that formula. And it's just really, I like that, how it's just a simple 3 steps, and that keeps it simple. So one of the last questions I want to ask you about on Instagram as well, because you're talking about value, and I certainly agree with that. What type of content? Videos, they got reels now, IGTV.
Yeah.
Do images still work? What's your take on all that?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So what I've found is working right now, Instagram, TV, videos are still working great. What I like to do is mix it up, because if you're doing the same type of content, obviously you're going to build a very consistent, reliable brand. But if you have too much consistency in terms of like the same type of content, people are going to get bored really quickly, because they're always wanting something different. So what I like to do is, if I posted a video this day, maybe I'll post a picture. If I post an Instagram reel, maybe I'll post an Instagram TV. So I just kind of mix it up, and there's really no magic to it. I just try not to post the same thing more than 3 times in a row. So I'll do 2 videos in a row, 2 pictures in a row, but I try to just mix it up. That way, providing value in different forms. Like, picture, I always create, your caption, guys, should always do a couple of things. 1, it should be providing value. 2, it should be, giving them entertainment or humor or some sort of emotion that is positive, so they can link positivity to your brand. Or 3, it really should be saying a statement about who you are and what your brand is. So they're building that know, like, and trust factor with your brand,
Yeah. Keep reeling them in and just connecting with them. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about connecting with people and then getting them to buy your stuff.
Dude, 100%. I love it.
Cool. So I think that was great. I want to finish off on one question.
Okay.
This is a question I kind of decided I'm going to start asking people, because I think it's a really good question, a good way to end interviews. So in one word, what is success to you?
Freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. So I would say one of my highest values is freedom. And everything that I've ever kind of done when it comes to wanting to be successful has been to have freedom, because I think that's what our country is based on, which is freedom. It's being able to do kind of what you want, when you want, with who you want, without obviously infringing on other people's, rights or boundaries. But for me, I think that freedom is really living the life that you decide you want to live. It's being able to wake up and be like, okay, I want to do this today. Okay, I want to do this today. And not letting, not selling out and just doing something just for a paycheck, or just doing something because your parents want you to, or doing something because your girlfriend or your friends think it's cool. Like, what do you truly want to do? And what do you feel like God is calling you or telling you to do? What's your passion? What's your purpose? And I think that that's what freedom is kind of tying all those things together.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I'm all about freedom. Like, that was a main driving force for me, especially in the beginning of my entrepreneurship career, because I just wanted to, like you said, I wanted to be able to do what I wanted, when I wanted, with who I wanted, on my terms. I want to live life on my terms. And I think one thing that you said is that you make the decision. And see, one of a big vision for me is to help people think critically. Because if you can really think for yourself and you can make decisions, not because your friend said it, not because your parents said it, but what do you really think? And you really think about stuff and make your own accurate decisions and or making your own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on up there?
Having a little party, I guess.
You know, because at the end of the day, life is a choice and success is a choice. Failure is a choice too.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's, you know, what you decide, and you can have, be, or do anything and everything you want, but you just have to, you know, follow the principles, the stuff that you shared today, knowing what you want, just knowing why you want it and just going after it. Because dude, that's such an incredible story. I just have to acknowledge that once again, is just the story. And I appreciate you sharing that, because I think a lot of people, they see, you know, influencers or people doing well saying, oh, well, they were given all this. Mm-hmm. And what they don't realize is that we're all human and we all go through crazy stuff. You went through a crazy story.
Insane.
It's incredible that you persevered. But like I said, and I think you've acknowledged this too, is that it truly was a gift.
It was.
You know, and a lot of people wouldn't take that perspective. And so I admire you for taking that perspective and really just, you know, you had a whole new lease on life, and you're taking advantage of that. So that's awesome, man. So great interview. I really appreciate you being here, man.
Brother. Appreciate you.
If you want to go connect with Bridger, I'll put his Instagram down in the description. He's got some different courses on Instagram, on fitness and different stuff. So you can just go have a conversation with him, see if you guys would vibe and if it's the right fit. But definitely go check this guy out if you're in the Scottsdale area. Link up with him. Super cool dude. And so thank you for being on. Appreciate you, brother. And keep crushing it, man.
I love it.
You're doing great things, and you're helping change this world, which this world needs a little bit of change right now.
Appreciate it, Nick.
Yeah, so make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not yet. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the next video.
Tonight